Thank you for joining us. David Heurtel in for Elias. We continue our conversation on transportation, this time public transit. So last Friday in Montreal, the Committee on Finance and Transportation tabled a report on how to finance the STM and public transit in the city. So to tell us more about these 21 recommendations that are in the report, I'm now joined by Pierre Lessard-Blais. He is the borough mayor for Mercier-Hochelaga-Maisonneuve. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you for having me.
So first, maybe just technically speaking, this committee, this is a committee of elected officials. Is it bipartisan? I mean, are there people from Projet and Ensemble on this committee?
Yeah, this committee that which I preside is composed by people from Projet Montreal, the opposition party, and also elected officials from the suburban municipality.
Oh, okay, very interesting. So, this committee and this report that was tabled and the recommendations in it, was it a unanimous report or were there dissents?
Yeah, the 21 recommendations were voted unanimously,
okay.
All of them. So we're pretty happy of the work we did there.
Okay, so I think this is important. So you have Projet Montréal elected officials, Ensemble Montréal elected officials, and also suburban mayors that are part of this committee. So what I read in the papers last week about this is that you're talking about increasing fuel tax, registration taxes to fund public transport. I mean, those obviously are the headline grabbers. What else is there in this report?
The main thing of this report is that we have to consider public transit as an essential service for all the cities and all the neighborhoods from west to east, and we need to have a long-term strategy on financing the public transit, and not only to maintain the service, but also to develop it. We know we're building more and more on the island of Montreal, but the roads won't be larger. There won't be much more space for new cars, and those new people will need to have access to mobility on the island. So we'll have to develop the public transit. Therefore, we need a long-term plan on financing the public transit, because right now we barely manage, with the collaboration of the government of Quebec, to have a 1 year ahead plan to finance the public transit. And with our commission, we met people from Translink in the public transit in Vancouver. We met people from France, from Paris and Lyon cities, and they all told us that if you want to plan ahead, you need a long-term finance plan, and that's at least a 10-year plan. So we still have a lot of work to do to have better planning in public transit.
Other recommendations in the report talk about taxing international flights, tourism taxes, and kilometer taxes. Tell me more about those.
Yeah, the report, like the city of Montreal itself, don't have power on every kind of taxes. So every levels of government have to do their homework. What we're saying about fuel tax and registration fees, it's that they have to be there has to be an indexation every year, because what we've seen lately is that a fuel tax and registration tax were not indexed since 10 to 20 years, and that helped to build the deficit itself. So every year you get to index the same way that the users of the STM public transit are being indexed. Like lately, the cost for a 1 month pass raised from $97 to $100 a month just the last few days. So you need to indexate every year. That's a basic. And we're also asking to different levels of government to see to have this long-term vision of finance, because it's not going to work. Right now, we might have a budget for 2025, but we'll need to look ahead better, and also fuel taxes that are an important part of the financement of public transit is definitely will go lower and lower with electric cars. So because electric cars don't pay those fuel taxes, so we'll need to fill in another source of revenue, and that's why we're saying to every levels of government, we need to have a long-term plan.
And about the STM, I mean, the STM is asking for the right to generate revenues from real estate developments around metro stations and try to benefit from the developments from a real estate side. Is that something the city controls, or do you actually need the Quebec government to allow that?
Yeah, you need a change in the law to make those things happen. It's right now it is possible, but it's extremely complicated. And when you think about the extension of the blue line in northeast of Montreal, there's going to be a lot of housing units built over those stations and around those stations.
Right.
So it's one source of revenue that was cited by not only the STM but different experts, saying that is a way to finance the public transit. So in generally, there's not like one source of revenue that will fill in all the needs, but it's really a cocktail of different sources. So that's why we said also to the government, well, we have to think outside the box. How about international flights? We know that the province of Quebec international flights are going way up, well, actually higher. There's more international flights right now than before the pandemic in the province of Quebec. We've also realized that in U.S., different states, and in France, there is a payroll mobility tax, like in the state of New York or in Oregon. So we have to think about those new incomes, because with the climate crisis and the densification of the city, people will need to have a better public transit than what we have right now.
All right. Pierre Lessard-Blais, Borough Mayor of Mercier-Hochelaga-Maisonneuve, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Have a good one.